Like they just brought her out and they were like, she's black, look at her. She'll tell you just Trump's not racist. She said she's like working with him. And she was just standing there like, I am black, look at me. The testimony of Michael Cohen. And I told myself I wasn't going to get too involved in this because, well, frankly, I don't want to talk much about Michael Cohen's testimony or Trump if they're going to indict him. Hey, man, I don't think they're going to indict Trump. I think it was just a ratings play. I always thought all of this Russian stuff was a ratings play. I got tired with it real quick. If my heart's not in the coverage, maybe it'd be best if that's really your thing. You really want to talk about Trump. There's a lot of conservatives out here who are putting out who every day are getting up covering Trump. Like, you don't need to get that from me. And if you want to see Trump go to jail for Russia collusion, a lot of people covering that daily who wake up every day going, we're going to lock him up. We're going to lock him up. I don't believe that's going to happen. And I could not force myself with any type of spirit or energy, any type of Tim Black passion to get up every day and cover that garbage. So I just can't do it. But I do want to say this. This guy Meadows, who was cross-examining Michael Cohen, who asked Michael Cohen, who wanted to refute Michael Cohen's claims that Donald Trump was prejudiced or racist or bigoted, he did so by bringing out a Lynne Patton.
Yes, sir.
Do you know Lynne Patton?
Yes, I do.
I asked Lynne to come today in her personal capacity to actually shed some light. How long have you known Miss Patton?
Who is an appointee at the HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and she has a position that was given to her through Michael Cohen under Donald Trump. And his way of saying, well, you were wrong about Donald Trump. Look at Lynne Patton. Stand up, Lynne. Look, you know Lynne, don't you? She's black. She got a job. How could Trump be racist? We got a black woman right here.
I'm responsible for Lynne Patton joining the Trump Organization and the job that she currently holds.
Well, I'm glad you acknowledged that, because you made some very demeaning comments about the president that Miss Patton doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist.
Obviously, if he didn't like the blacks, she wouldn't be here with a job, would she? You know, slave masters had black workers. It's really not enough. I mean, come on, guys. It's really not enough. And you know what? Lynne Patton could actually feel in her heart of hearts that Trump's not racist. She could feel that way. Maybe she has reasons. You don't know why she feels that way, but she can feel that way. Who are you to tell her she's wrong when she says, hey, Trump's not racist? That's a personal judgment. Right? That's her experience. That's how she sees it. Us not even knowing them, how can we say, or knowing their relationship, how can we say, she's lying on that line, okay? That's between those two. But what I find hilarious is when I watch TYT cover it, just before going to air, and they were fake appalled. They were appalled. Jake Uger was appalled that this guy Meadows was speaking on behalf of Lynne Patton. They didn't let her speak at all. Like, they just brought her out and they were like, she's black, look at her. She'll tell you just Trump's not racist. She said she's like working with him. And she was just standing there like, I am black, look at me. But she couldn't talk, right? And Jake Uger said, it's racist to talk about black people and not let them speak for themselves.
Anyway, But if he had any African Americans on his staff, Mark Meadows did, and I don't know if he's got any at all, but obviously they didn't counsel him, because if he has any, because he would then know that at a bare minimum, this is very racially insensitive to bring up an African American person, but not let them talk and talk for them. You see this prop over here? Now I'm gonna tell you what she thinks. Oh, this white guy is gonna tell you what this black person thinks.
Right.
I mean, again, bare minimum, deeply racially insensitive.
And I don't know if he thought about it at the time when he was saying it, but there's a lot of that going on in the Democratic Party. There's a lot of white people that like talking for black people. A lot of it's going on in corporate media. A lot of it's going on in independent media. They like talking for black people. So as pissed off as you say you are about this guy Meadows coming, bringing this black person out and talking for him, at least he brought her out. Most of these other corporate media, they don't even bring black people out. They just talk for them. How rare is it that you actually have black people in the room where they had these conversations? You know? Not that, you know, it's pretty rare where black people are really in the room or really a part of these conversations. If I'm not the biggest black independent media on the left, I don't know who is. And every day I gotta fight just to be included, just to have a voice. You know? Every day. And that didn't start last week. So I know what's going on. So don't act so outraged that Meadows brought out the black woman to talk for. You talk for black people every day. Every time there's a shooting, there you go. Every time there's some barbecue Becky, there you go. Talking for black people. Every time. You do it more than Meadows does it. You do it more than the Republicans do it. That's what you do. I think you'd rather do that so you can control the conversation. But there was one last thing about this Lynne Patton thing that I found funny. See, Mark Meadows, he started getting a little cute, right?
In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist. How do you reconcile the two of those, Mr.
As neither should I, as the son of a Holocaust survivor.
But, Mr. Cohen, I guess what I'm saying is I've talked to the president over 300 times. I've not heard one time a racist comment out of his mouth in private. So how do you reconcile it? Do you have proof of those conversations?
I would ask you to
Do you have tape recordings of those conversations?
Why is it that I've never heard him be racist if he's racist? And Cohen was like, well, I have. He's like, well, did you record it? And he's like, no, I didn't record it.
No, sir.
Well, you've taped everybody else. Why wouldn't you have a tape?
That's also not true, sir. That's not true.
You haven't taped anybody?
I have taped individuals.
How many times have you taped individuals?
Maybe 100 times over 10 years.
Is that a low estimate? Because I've heard it's over 200 times.
You're recording all those other people. You got, how many other recordings do you have? He said, I have about 100. He said, I heard you had like 200. He said, no, they have 100 of them. And this is where Michael Cohen got him, because he started to get cute. And he said, well, I can tell you what I base it on. He said, all right, that's okay. We don't need to know. He said, no, you asked the question. Let me answer. And he said,
ask Ms. Patton how many people who are black are executives at the Trump Organization. And the answer is zero.
Mr. Cohen, we can...
Ask Ms. Patton how many people who are black are executives at the Trump Organization.
Trump owns all these businesses. He owns all this stuff. Ask Lynne Patton, why come no black people run any of them? And that's when Mark Meadows ended the interview. Oh, that's enough. We don't need to hear any more of this.
Go through this. Here, I would ask unanimous consent that her entire statement be put in the record.
Yeah, because it's one thing to have black people work for you. It's another thing to have them run your shit.